days of old, 5 elements were known: MCing, DJing, graffiti had grown, B-boy and knowledge, the pillars of the game, but a 6th emerged, adding to the flame. Comics and hip-hop, a fusion so tight, visual storytelling, lyrics that ignite, from the pages to the beats, a seamless blend, the 6th element where 2 worlds transcend.
Welcome to the 6th Element Show, where comics and hip-hop flow. Reno and Stu guiding the way, bringing you the culture every day. Welcome to the 6th Element Show, where comics and hip-hop flow. Reno and Stu.
What's good, y'all? 6th Element of hip-hop here. We are Reno and Stu, bringing you the culture every day. What's good, 6th Element? How are y'all doing today? Let me get this thing off. Sign it up. So, yeah, man, we got a great, Stu. Fuck that. We got an amazing show. It's a lot of shit going on.
We do. It is a lot going on. It's a lot going on. It's a lot.
It's a whole lot. A whole lot.
It is. It is. So let's get to it.
Let's get it in. Let's get to it.
Like this.
Let's break it down. Let's light it. But lot going on. Lot to talk about. A really lot. We're gonna talk about the Andor series finale, of course, because we've been following the show. And the finale is here, and it's phenomenal as we knew it would be, and we knew how it was going to end, of course, but it's the way they did it that was just so choice. We're going to break that down. Also, Superman trailer number 2 just dropped. Lots of cool shit in there, lots of Easter eggs, lots of reveals from James Gunn. We're going to talk about speaking of Andor, there's a finale, a sneaky, subtle post-credit surprise that we're going to talk about Andor. Also, why Andy Serkis never returned. You remember the season 1 at the end when they broke out of the jail? The one guy who didn't jump.
Yeah.
Had to play his Gollum. Yeah. What the fuck happened to him? So yeah, we're gonna learn what happened to him from the mouth of Tony Gilroy.
He was like the main antagonist for that whole movement, for the escape and everything.
Yeah, I really wanted to see what's going on with him, man. I was excited. Like, I was anticipating season 2 to be like, what happens with that guy? But yeah, so that, and then the Superman trailer. Like I said, the 15 biggest reveals from James Gunn's DC movie trailer explained. We're gonna break that down for you. Lanterns HBO series cast and crew. We know who's gonna be in it. Justice League and Peacemaker 2. Supergirl, Women of Tomorrow, has wrapped. James Gunn busts it down. Spider-Man Noir, we got the photo of Nicolas Cage in full costume from New Line. And then we also got some photos of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom behind the scenes, well, bulking up to play Dr. Doom anyway, we'll say. We do have a little featurette of Riri Williams for all our Ironheart fans out there. Little featurette there. And then,
Speaking of Dr. Doom, I was watching Loki.
Right.
And they talk about Dr. Doom and Loki, but I don't think anybody caught on.
Oh, really?
And Loki, remember when what's his name was talking to Loki? What's his name? Morbius. Maybe he's talking to Loki.
Mobius.
And he said there's an 8-year-old kid that murders 6,000 people, in his village next to the Red Sea, and nobody says anything, but we have to stop that anomaly. Like, that's something we got. So when you go back and you think about it, where is Latveria? Near the Red Sea.
Latveria.
And there is, Latveria. And Doom did do that as an 8-year-old kid. He murdered 6,000 people as a kid. So
that's
right
true.
Then and there, they're telling us, that he, and who does the most with time and time jumping and all that besides what's his name?
Loki or Mobius?
Loki,
or
not Mobius, what's his name? Kang. Besides Kang?
Doom. Oh, right. Well,
Doom.
yeah.
So,
right,
Morbius was telling them, right? So then Morbius, like, he grows up and he does this with time, and he's always jumping, causing anomalies, this, that. So I'm like, wait a minute, man. So I went and fact checked it. Sure enough, that's the introduction to Dr. Doom right there. but
There
we
you
didn't
go. You
see it.
heard it here.
We didn't see it. We didn't even pay attention to it. We didn't even think about it like that. And this is like
Mm,
my second time. This is like my second watch to it, Loki. Like I bought them on disc, so I was just watching them because I bought them. And
right.
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute. 8-year-old kid. I was like, wait, I heard that somewhere before. So I started looking at it. I was like, oh, that's Doom. They just introduced Doom. So now it's been there all this time. We just didn't see it.
We just didn't see it. Well, y'all heard it here first, y'all. Six Element Hip Hop broke the news. We also got to discuss the Defenders assembling in Daredevil season 2 that's coming. Mark Ruffalo's status as the Hulk in Avengers Doomsday. We have the news. What else? Snake Eyes, G.I. Joe AAA video game. First look going down. We got the first look at the G.I. Joe Classified Retro Series Collection Rock and Roll action figure, and some return to Gen 1 Transformers anime reboot. Some new figures that look super dope. Masters of the Universe set photos. We get to see what Tila is going to look like, Camila Mendez. And some other surprises. Maybe we'll get into the fact that the first day of Sean Combs' sex trafficking trial ends today, as prosecutor saying he ran a criminal enterprise. So yeah, they're really going in on the old Diddy.
Yeah. And they trying to get him on that. Like, I don't get it, man. They got like almost damn near a RICO case built again, but that's only
Oh
I
yeah,
ain't never heard of it against one person. Like, oh, I'm like, dang. Like,
yeah.
but
You're gonna have to
I've
bring
been
in,
watching it. I've been watching it.
conspirators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've been watching it. I mean, they won't allow any cameras, anything in the courtroom, so we just gotta go by what we get from
Mhm.
the people that were there. So um
Right. Right.
yesterday's testimony was
Well, we got
it
art
was
for
it was
y'all.
it was damaging, man. It was damaging. But
Yeah.
we're gonna get into it. But a
Yeah.
Snake Eyes AAA video game Reno will break the internet if it's done right.
Yeah.
That
If
will
it's
break the
done,
internet. If it's
it
done
would
right.
be it would be
That'll
lovely.
break the internet. Yeah,
I
that'll break
hope
the
so.
internet.
It looks fucking sick. Like what I
You
seen of
seen it?
it and what I'm gonna show you of it. Yeah, you'll kind of get the idea of, oh, that's where they're going with this. Oh, it is AAA, 100% AAA. Like, yeah, bro. So we'll definitely make sure we tap on that today. But let's get into Andor, because I know we've got two main events. We got Superman trailer, we got Andor. So if you guys are here to see one or the other, just hold tight. We're gonna get into both of them. We're gonna chop up Andor first, since the thumbnail goes to Superman. But we definitely getting into Superman. We're gonna watch the trailer too. We're gonna watch it in slow motion. We're gonna break it all down. You're gonna love it. Hang out. But Andor series finale recap. Little recap. Little review here. The line that Luthen says. He says, "I think we used up all the perfect." And that fucking line just hit me at the end of this video, or the end of this finale. I was like, that's it, Andor. Star Wars has used up all the perfect. It's over. And yeah, I mean, that's the feeling I got watching the credits for the final time. After its transcendent, transformative run, Andor is done. And it concluded as it proceeded, with hardly a note or a quote out of place. Everything perfect, everything meticulously done. And since we already knew the ending, how hard is it to write a fucking something that people already know the ending for, and it's still, entertaining, it still holds your attention? That's a feat. Most of the time, when you know the ending, right, it's like, oh, spoiler alert, Andor dies. Like, yeah, we know. But no, there was no trench run. There was no 3-part finale, no battle between the massed fleets, no lightsaber duels, no set piece more explosive than run-ins with a few agents and troopers at a hospital. You had in a housing complex. There was not much. There wasn't even one last mother of a monologue, right? Like the last 2 episodes of season 1. The ending of the second season and the series couldn't help but be a bit overshadowed by the high points that preceded it. This was not about the ending. It was about the journey. The ending we already knew. So, and yet, last of season 2's 4 mini movies, directed by Alonso Ruzi Palacios, I don't know, and written by Tom Biesel. was everything it could have been, should have been, considering that the story constraints, again, imposed by Rogue One, poignant, devastating, inspiring, somewhat surprising. But I am so sad to say that I've seen all the Andor and also very fulfilled. But it's hard to remember now, like in its moment of triumph. But much like the rebellion itself, Andor had very humble origins, very, hype wise, right? But Cassian Andor, the character, wasn't exactly gloop shitto, right? But but one of the but the concept of a prequel to a prequel and a spin-off of a spin-off seemed very symbolic of Disney's recursive Star Wars storytelling strategy, i.e., the success of Rogue One would instantly be mined for more content tied to it to tie it to the original trilogy. And I didn't suspect that Andor would one day be as luminous as any other Star Wars project in the Lucasfilm firmament. Like, however, Tony Gilroy's involvement suggested that the series might be more than derivative franchise fodder, because we know that he's not a big Star Wars like guy. He's not a big Disney guy. He's just a good filmmaker. And once the first footage surfaced, I was sold. A testament to the difference that a visionary creator like Tony Gilroy can make, even when working within a franchise that he may not know so well. He admittedly might not like too much. But when you look at other shows that Lucasfilm has done, I won't name names, they didn't do so good. And you don't, and we can blame it on them not knowing the lore and not being fans and all that. But honestly,
Nah, Reno, come on, Reno, you got to give them receipts. You got to give them receipts, right? They didn't. Remember the one thing I sent you with the guy that played Darth Maul at the end of Solo, and he was saying like they didn't know. Like he was like, look, they was like, oh, you're gonna be Darth Maul, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, and he was like, wait a minute, and they were like, he was like, what lightsaber is he holding? Because if he's holding this lightsaber, that means that's this Maul, that's this part of his life. And if he's holding a different lightsaber, which we know he has, that's this part. And he said that they looked at him like, oh, we didn't know that. Like, because he was like, he can't have those legs with that lightsaber, because when he had that lightsaber, he didn't have those legs.
Right.
And it was like, and when he has the Inquisitor lightsaber, he has a different set of legs. And he killed an Inquisitor. So he was like, so you got to figure. And then he said, it's a different Maul. So he was like, so which one are we doing? And
they were
like, well, right. He said, well, so then he said, was like, well, we'll leave it up to you. You since you we'll let you guide us into what Maul it is. And if it wasn't for him saying that and speaking up and being a Star Wars fan and knowing the lore, we would have been messed up. Yeah. And that was one of the highlights of the movie. That was one of the best parts of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's just this is the definition of a sleeper. You know what I mean? Like, it's not right. It kind of reminds me of Better Call Saul, right? You see Breaking Bad, and you ask me, who should we do a spinoff on? Saul Goodman is not doesn't sound like a fucking great show, right? But just as Better Call Saul became more than a prelude to Breaking Bad, Andor doesn't seem like well executed setup for pre-established Star Wars narratives. And in my mind, it's no more a prequel than Episode 4 is a sequel, right? It's not a backstory. It's just a story. I'll never watch Episode 4 again without wondering, about the characters in Andor and what they think about the Battle of Yavin, or how Bix and her kid are doing, or whether Mon Mothma mentally thanks Luthen when the second Death Star is destroyed, and the Emperor is at least temporarily toppled. More than that, though, I don't need to watch Episode 4 to feel Andor's impact, right? I know the big battles and the victories are still to come as Cassian sets off for Kafrene, but Andor's fine-grained portrayal of the roots of the rebellion, which Cassian has cultivated as carefully as, the plants that he waters in his house on Yavin, is absorbing and so convincing that it seems like the hard part, the important part, is already done, even before the Force users arrive, before Luke and all that happens. And Andor isn't only for Star Wars obsessives, right? Because you don't have to just be a super fan to get it. Like, it's just a great fucking show. It's good quality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just all around a good show. And it doesn't matter was it Star Wars or not. You just can't, you know what I mean? It's just tight.
You can't front on it.
And
Yeah.
you can't front on it.
You can't front on it.
Um,
You can't.
yeah,
But
no, not
but
at all.
that stuff I feel Disney should have been doing from the grip.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of questions we had before Star Wars, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of stuff that happened between Star Wars and Empire. You could have did movies about that instead of
Mm-hmm.
giving us those other 3 episodes that you gave us,
Yeah.
the Skywalker saga. Because it really made no sense. And that gave you time. That would actually give you time to write another saga, another 3 movie saga, and something that we care about. I mean, I don't get it, but I do, and I know it's just the people you put in charge are the people who made the decisions to do what they did. Um,
Mm.
and it goes back to me thinking about Simon Cowell when they used to do America's Got Talent and all that, and Simon be like, no, you ain't got no talent. And everybody would be mad, like, oh, Simon,
Yeah.
but Simon's
What do you want
right.
me to
He's the
do? Yeah,
gatekeeper.
like,
He's the
yeah.
gatekeeper. Like, yeah, he's telling you, like back in the day when they would had a line outside and they only let certain people in the club, that was for a reason. If you didn't
See,
look the part and dress, they didn't let you in.
yeah. Nah, what people didn't get about Simon Cowell was he was helping them people.
Yes, he was.
I'm telling you now, don't do it. Don't spend no money on this career. Don't put no time and effort into this career. Don't go fucking embarrass yourself because you don't have it. That's it. I know it's your dream. I know you want it so bad. You don't have it. Go work behind the scenes in the same industry. Like that's the job. You know what I mean? But like I digress here. The characters like Star Wars, bro. I mean, for me, like, I was born in 79. So by the time I grew up, the shows, the movies had already left the theater. Like, by the time I was old enough to really watch Star Wars, they were on HBO. And boy, were
Yeah, me
they
too.
were on HBO back to back to
Yeah,
back to back on
yeah.
HBO. But yeah, so like that's why I'm so attached to the expanded universe, right? I don't care who says it's decanonized or what. The characters in those books, the comics, the video games, especially, that was like my Star Wars. The movies were my dad's Star Wars. The books and the comics and the games were my Star Wars. And so, that the Star Wars that didn't predate, right? But kind of came to be as I discovered the series and at the tail end of the on-screen lean years between the first 2 trilogies. And undoubtedly Andor exists in close conversation with the rest of the saga, right? Not only is it situated within the same universe and chronology, but it also seems so transgressive and revolutionary, largely because of the contrast in tone between Andor and a stereotypical Star Wars, whatever. And so nonetheless, the series, suggested that Star Wars could do more than strive to imitate its ancestors. You don't, like Lucasfilm, we don't want to keep doing the Skywalker saga. Well, it doesn't mean just do some nonsense. Like, there's a way to stay within doing Star Wars the right way and still be creative and new. And Andor is exactly the example of how that's done. It's 100% feels new, fresh, different, but it's about basically the original trilogy. And so that's very talented, this show, and the fact that it held our, attention knowing the ending already is unheard of. And Andor proved that it was possible to redefine this franchise after almost 50 years and not only recapture the spirit of the classic Star Wars as the best of the Rebels or the Mandalorian did, also pioneer a new framework for the franchise. Nostalgia is great. It's beautiful. It's lovely. It's nice. I need it. I want it. But those plucky freedom fighters on Yavin know it's exhilarating to be present at the start of something. And that, productive tension between convention and innovation extends to the finale, much of which revolves around Luthen and Clea. So Luthen was my favorite, like, just dude, because he's just the super spy, and he had that dope ass ship in the first one where he shot he had like lightsabers on both sides of his ship, and he just spin it in a circle and just fuck everything up. Like, that was ill. and no one had ever done that before. And that's when I was like, yeah, this dude is my dude. And so Luthen and Clea, the two core characters, left on the board now, since mostly everyone's died off, and their histories and futures are unwritten before the episode aired. Luthen, we learn, was once an Imperial sergeant who revolted against orders and attacked and pacify a populace to attack and to attack. He was given orders to attack and pacify basically like a town, and he was like, fuck you. And we get that flashback. So we see like young Luthen and how and why he became the rebel. It's like how the rebellion started. I mean, this is the dude that basically starts the rebellion. And this is how, and like, you know, the rebels, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Leia, the whole rebel army, fucking all that shit starts with Luthen.
Yeah, they rally behind him.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Admiral
Saw
Akbar, the Saw Gerrera, all the big characters in the rebellion, man. They all come from Luthen, and you know, he was powerless to halt the violence inflicted by his fellow soldiers, and so he invented a mechanical problem and simply sat out the attack. You know, intoning "make it stop" in both basic and his native tongue. Just make it stop, make it stop. No one answered his prayer that he was sending up, and so he had to answer it himself with help from Clea, a refugee who hid in his ship, stowed away, and Luthen adopted as a daughter and accomplice and apprentice and protege. And when I saw that earliest flashback for the first time, I thought that Clea could be Carrie, which was Cassian's long-lost sister that we spirited away from what I took to be a Kenari, you know, by Luthen, just as Cassian was by Marva in the first season. So it would be quite a coincidence for two orphans from Kenari to wind up at the bright center of both the universe and the rebellion. More support for that notion, for the notion that the fate and the Force are gently tugging at the strings. And you know, as Cassian says, somewhat tragically in season 2, episode 9, the only special thing about me is luck. But it would be beautiful if Cassian finally found his sister after Merva requested that he stop looking, unwittingly, you know, completing a personal mission, you know, blah blah blah, would have been dope. But we learn it's Clea. You know, it would bring the series full circle, but Clea says it would be you, wouldn't it? When Cassian is searching for Carrie, sort of kicks off the events that propel him towards Scarif. So, but that's probably just decades of exposure to Star Wars speaking. One symptom of Star Wars brain is believing that everyone is related because Luke and Leia were, because Rey and Luke and they all descended from Palpatine, and you know, it's like this big incestual related. But of course, even Cassian and Clea were siblings. Their parents, as far as we know, would be nobody. Cassian and Clea come from nothing. The Last Jedi, you know, suggested that Rey came from nothing. One way or another, the duo is defined by their actions, not by their midichlorian counts or their heroic or villainous lineages. But if they aren't related, which it seems likely, the attack on Clea's unspecified planet appears to have taken place well after Cassian's departure from Kenari. Different child actors play Carrie and young Clea. Clea seems to speak basic soon after the rescue, and the attack seems to have taken place in a more urban, well-populated environment than Kenari. And Tony Gilroy described the sister storyline as unresolved. So, and that's appropriate too. Like countless others, like Din Djarin and Jyn Erso. They're refugees buffeted by forces beyond their control. The Separatists, the Republic that morphed into the Empire gradually and then all at once. Even the Rebellion, they're far from equally culpable, but they are all capable of cruelty. The planets and the perpetrators change, but the victims keep coming. Those victims include Lonnie and his family. You know, there's people just dying, you know, for the Rebellion. And Lonnie was the ISB plant that tips off his handler about the Death Star's construction. So we learn about the Death Star being constructed from Lonnie, telling Luthen that he's found something huge, moon-sized even. I wouldn't want to be a whistleblower like Lonnie because his reward for years of high-risk service is a swift execution. Between Lonnie and Andor, Tivik in Rogue One, it's clear that being Death Star deep throat for the rebels is obviously hazardous to one's health. Lonnie says we can't, or Luthen said we can't let you go, Lonnie. In season 1, he wanted to go, so we can't let you go. We can't spare you, and he meant that in more than one way. But yeah, he was the redhead dude, the ginger guy that in the beginning he was like, "I'm out of here, man. I'm fucking done." He's like, "Nah, you can't." In Luthen's famous monologue, where he talked about burning his decency and his life, in the finale's first flashback, Luthen's superior says, "Any burners you got? He wants that whole street out there on fire." End quote. And so in a later flashback, Luthen burns a literal bridge on Naboo, thereby burning his and Clea's bridge to blissfully oblivious civilian life. Now that's over. We're going to be rebels. We're in the game now. And okay, that one was a bit on the nose. But in the present, Lonnie tells Luthen, "I'm burned." And just before Luthen burns him with a blaster bolt. And so a lot of burning. And when it's time to cover the tracks of their operation, Luthen tells Clea, "I'll do the burn." So it's all like throwbacks and callbacks to earlier shit that just makes it just come together so wonderfully. And so the Burninator should have left that task to Clea, because Luthen nearly bungles it so badly that he undoes his life's work. One of the great joys of a series like Andor, in which characters proceed along parallel paths, is seeing some of those tracks intersect at some point in the end game. And so as Cassian and Mon Mothma's paths crossed in the last week's ending, so like Andor watchers were anticipating a showdown between Luthen and Dedra, and it happened in episode 10, and it didn't disappoint. Well, it disappointed Dedra, but she asked Luthen, "Is everything real?" When she shows up at his shop, all the antique. At the moment, only 2 pieces of questionable provenance in the gallery, Luthen says. So he's like, "Yeah, everything's real. A couple pieces, maybe not, but I'm not sure." Seemingly referring to himself and his pursuer are the 2 pieces of questionable provenance, right? All the antiques are legit. So it's a little nod there. And not only is Luthen not real, but he's not even Rael, who was originally Lear. They both know what Dedra is doing there, but they're so steeped in secrecy in their ways that they can't drop their facades before they finish their little dance. And Dedra likes to play with her prey, so they parry and riposte until she brings out her prop, and with a flourish, the faithful Imperial Starpath unit recovered from Ferrix that led Luthen to Cassian and eventually led Dedra to Luthen. On the one hand, it seems like it's kind of whack and just wild and just impossible that Luthen wouldn't be better prepared to take his own life, considering that he's been forecasting his demise since the start of the series. He's been like more than fucking Tupac. And the series and he knows that the ISB's onto him. Like, he knows it's a done deal. He knows it's finite. And so I don't know. He hasn't heard of fucking cyanide pills or the Star Wars equivalent. I don't know. It should have been something like that, I feel. But, Alliance operatives used them. We seen that. And I'll grant that death by Notalon Bleeder, his first attempt to silence himself, would have been dope. But it wasn't a sure thing, and that wasn't the time to improvise. This was the time to be fucking sure about it. And so he said, he always, Clea tells Vel about Luthen. He always used to say, "Know your way out before you go in." And Luthen knew that he would go out fighting, but he should have paid more attention to the details of his self-imposed death sentence. It seems similarly, I think, stupid or terribly perplexing in Krennic's words that Deidre could balance such a passionate competency with the mindless decision to confront Luthen Rael on her own. On a lesser show, we would complain about inconsistent characterization, but this is Andor, though. For sure, yeah.
And it's made to be Andor is made to be kind of like a soap opera with a
Right.
little bit of action, and it
Yeah.
delivers. But it's not the dialogue is not boring. The characters aren't boring. When you're watching it, they're telling you what's gonna, and you're sitting there like, what are we gonna see next? What are you guys gonna do? How is this gonna get done? We already know how the story ends, but we need the
Mhm.
juicy details in between it, and that
Exactly.
works.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean the Luth what was I thinking? Like another King Lear or Lear. Lear is Luthen's, I don't know. It's Luthen wasn't an ideal dad. He said, "I am your daughter now," or Clea said, "Am I your daughter now?" And he said, "When it's useful," but I don't know. She said, "Sold, but no smile." These are just, I don't know. She says when she wins her flea market negotiation as an approving, Luthen flashes a fleeting smile for free. But later he confides, "I'm only afraid of what I'm doing to you." And Clea, who's equivalent to a team of 3, is always useful. But even though her mission of merciful assassination is an assignment that Luthen has groomed her for from childhood, and it's still heart-wrenching, I think, to see for her to heed his words about making a choice. But one of the things Luthen said he sacrificed in season 1 was love. He said this is not something that we can bother with when we have to. It's like the Jedi. We have to give up love basically to do this right. The rebellion, Jedi, whatever. But Clea's tears as she sits by his side at the hospital contradict him. She loves Luthen and he loves her, and as he lets out his last breath, he seems to have found the peace that he said he'd given up. She said, yeah. So, but Clea later tells Vel about her mission to seal Luthen's potentially loose lips. She said it had to be done. She had to shut him up. But Dr. Gorst is gone, but his torture mixtape might not be. Mon's cousin answers. She says, it gets tiring saying that, doesn't it? Clea, doing what she has to do. But she has the strength to do it. And so she's the one that does what has to be done, basically. But Luthen's last gift to the rebellion may seem extraneous, considering that Cassian was about to receive the same tip about the Death Star from Tivik, or was he? With Luthen's report, priming the rebel brain trust for news about a super weapon, Cassian might not have hurried to Caffeine for that rendezvous, and he and Mon might not have been, as inclined to trust Tivik. So, all too often, crucial warnings are ignored, and Luthen, made it less likely that the rebels would overlook existential, time-sensitive threat like that. But fittingly, he didn't sound the alarm or act on the intel by himself. Obviously, alliances are not solo acts by definition. But as was foretold, the end of Andor led directly into Rogue One. That's what we knew was going to happen, and it happened, and they did it just right, complete with identical costumes and haircuts. Right, it leads right up, and unfortunately, I didn't have time to, but it was recommended to immediately watch Rogue One right after the finale. But I'll have to do that another time. But yeah, it runs right up into it. Rogue One is like one of my top, definitely in my top 5 favorite Star Wars movies, maybe top 3. But also, I'll probably watch the original trilogy too right after that, because it's great to watch Andor up to Rogue One up to Episode 4. A New Hope. Um, it rolls right in, and the end credits sort of roll right into the, kind of made me. It made the music at the end made me want that John Williams Star Wars. So it's just the right amount of Star Wars, and but Andor foreshadowed Rogue One in ways that aren't as heavy-handed as like Palpatine telling Anakin that he'll watch his career with great interest, or Obi-Wan joking about Anakin being the death of him, right? These are the stupid ass Lucasfilm like callbacks. Like, it's just really on the nose shit. This was better, more subtle, just nuanced, and where the sequel trilogy sort of undercut the originals by undoing their outcome while admittedly making the point that happy endings aren't permanent. Andor makes those classic characters' efforts more meaningful because they're completing a relay race begun by Andor's, street level forceless heroes. And remember the baton pass at the end of Rogue One when Cassian and Jyn Erso and co. give their lives to transmit the Death Star plans, and a series of doomed rebels, kind of play hot potato with the hard copy as Darth Vader hunts them down. It was just dope, and so we now know of.
And they also pay homage too, to
Mhm.
Star Wars, to Andor with the series, the way it ended. Because if you look at the beginning of episode 4, when Vader's choking the dude and he's asking him for the Death Star plans, that's the dude that they handed the plans to. Remember when Vader was in the hallway slicing everybody up, and the
Yep.
guy was like, "Here, take it, take it, take it." So
Yeah.
Vader knew who he was looking for. He recognized the dude by face. So when they
Yeah.
stopped laying ship, that's the dude. If you look, that's the guy that he was choking. The guy that took the plans through the door. When you watch Star Wars, that's who Vader's choking.
Dope.
It has up by the neck when he's asking him for the plans. A lot of people didn't notice that. If they watch it, they didn't notice that it went right into that, and they did
Dope.
that on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what's so dope about Andor. And originally, when I watched the Blu-ray that I had over there, they said that everybody wasn't supposed to die, but they said that when they watched the final cut, it just didn't seem right that they didn't sacrifice anything to get those plans. So then they went back, and then that's why everybody dies at the
And
end of
Rogue One.
Andor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
At the
sorry,
end of
Rogue One. Yeah, they
Rogue
said
One.
that
Yeah.
at the end of Rogue One. Yeah, they said because it
Yeah.
just didn't seem right. They said it
Yeah.
wasn't dramatic. It had there was no sacrifice. They flew,
Yeah.
they flew all the way to what's that, Jusufar or whatever that planet is, and they said
Yeah.
it was just like they get in, they get the
Crucified.
plans, they get out. Yeah, they was like, damn, they said it just, but they said when they went back and watched it with the ending where everybody died and Vader's ship came in and all of that, they was like, it just seemed like it was more gripping, it was more
Gravitas.
spectacular, and
Yeah.
it was, yeah, and it
Yeah.
was. Jakku, that's it, that's the name of the planet, Jakku.
Jakku.
When you're on
Oh, from
Jakku, yeah,
the sequel trilogy. That's Ray's planet.
the
Jakku.
raised planet. So yeah, so
So,
you
but
got
no, I
Jakku, you got
mean,
Jusufar.
yeah, I mean, it leads right up into Rogue One, and everybody in Andor almost dies pretty much in Andor. They kind of tried to like stick with that Rogue One thing where everyone dies, and pretty much everyone in Andor dies except for the people that have to go on to Rogue One, like Cassian and Bix. But other than that, Cyril dies,
Yeah,
Luthen, I mean, everyone dies. And it's very Rogue One. It's very,
yeah.
very, very
But
Andor.
it makes sense. But it makes sense though because they
Yeah,
started the rebellion. So there's going to be mistakes made. People are going to die. People are
yeah,
going to, and the empire was a lot stronger than before they got broken up. And,
yeah,
it would, because you got to remember when you watch Empire, it shows you the strength of the Empire. They can't get away. The Falcon can't get away from them. Like they literally, like Han Solo's flying this thing, his hyperdrive's broken. Every turn he
yeah,
take, they're there, they're there, they're there. Even when he got to Cloud City, it was already there waiting on him. Like, yeah, we got you, dog. Like, they open the door, Vader snatches like it shows you the strength of the Empire at that time. And in order for
yeah,
them to get anything done, people had to die. They had to have secrecy. They had to have a lot going. They had a lot going on, a whole
yeah.
lot. But thinking about it, making us care about the characters, giving us something that's authentic Star Wars. Like that's what makes Andor feel so good, man. And that's what makes me, just like, yo, this is the dopest Star Wars show I've seen in a long time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Rad. The Superman trailer does look super dope. We're definitely about to chop that up in just 1 second here. We're just finishing
Yeah,
up chopping up the Andor finale. And once we get done talking about Andor, we're gonna get heavily into that Superman trailer. I got all kinds of goodness to chop up with y'all, so stay tuned. But check this out. So as we finish the finale of Andor, the creator Tony Gilroy kind of brings us in and tells us about all the biggest twists and Rogue One links and stuff like that. So let's see what he has to say. It says, you have the line, what a bitter ending in the finale. The revelation that Bix was pregnant and Cassian had a son he didn't ever know about, to me, actually makes his fate somehow more tragic, not less. Tony said, I agree. It does three things for me. It does exactly what you said. I think it makes his sacrifice a little bit more bitter. And I think that for anybody who had a lingering doubt about Bix leaving in an episode 9, it explains it for anybody who was hesitant about buying into that scene. And finally, ultimately, I was desperate to end on a hopeful note. Rebellions are built on hope. Isn't just a t-shirt. It's a legit flame that a lot of people need to see. So hopefully I was ending on something that was upbeat, as it was important for me to do that. He said Bix wasn't secretly pregnant. Would she still have left Cassian to continue fighting the cause if she wasn't secretly pregnant? He said, I don't know the answer to that. I think she is pregnant when she leaves. So she knew she was pregnant. Okay. I love that the rebellions are built on hope line comes from a humble hotel clerk, particularly because now that we know Cassian a lot better than we did in Rogue One, that line doesn't sound like the sort of thing that he would come up with. Tony says it's embarrassing. My office is in my house, and my son is a very big Star Wars fan. So he comes over one day and he said, "What you doing? What you going to do about the rebellions are built on hope?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, who's going to say it?" And I go, "It comes up in Rogue One." He said, "But where did Cassian get it from?" And I go, "Doesn't that come from somewhere else in the movie?" He goes, "No, it comes from nowhere." I'm like, holy shit, I better find somebody to drop this in there. So it was really my son saved my ass on that. Yeah, so basically in Rogue One, Cassian says rebellions are built on hope, and this is explaining where he got that line. Jumping back in a bit, it was an amazing sequence with the massacre on Gorman. In those final moments, could Cyril have tilted into joining the rebellion? Tony said, I've always viewed him right from the very beginning as a romantic and a fanaticist that has this incredibly rich internal life. And I think that a lot of times that people go where they are liked, where they're encouraged. This is a scenario under which he might have taken an entirely different path. So basically, to not read all this, they're saying that Cyril was basically an Empire guy because the Empire, kind of made him feel encouraged. That's who told him that he was doing a good job, and that's who he fucked with. That was his circle. Had he came up around rebels, and maybe if the rebels started hanging around him and patting him on the back and making him feel good, he would have been a rebel. So my prediction for the ambitious Deidre was that she would go successful, or that she would be so successful that she would one day be rewarded by a position on the Death Star, and that would lead to her unseen demise in A New Hope. What made this fate right? Well, we knew she's going down. I mean, the whole ISB is coming to an end. If you think about it, if that was the CIA or any intelligence bureau with those kind of branches and that kind of disaster happening simultaneously, it would be a cleaning of house. So she's definitely going down. And then we have her on Nakina 3 or Nakina 9 or wherever she's on. I mean, that was just too juicy to ignore. Speaking of Imperial prisons, I kept expecting Andy Serkis, character Kino Loy, to pop up as a rebel leader on Yavin 4 or something. Did you ever consider having him back? And is there a fate you have in mind for him? Andy, drop the mic, man. What am I going to do that's going to be better than what we did? All it does is minimize that moment where Loy reveals, I can't swim, after breaking out of the island prison. I knew a lot of people were talking about whether we had a way of bringing him back, but I didn't want to have that sort of coincidental environment. Kino Loy is like Cassian's sister, who he was trying to find at the series premiere. People wanted to know if they were going to resolve the sister. And the sister in the beginning is so much more interesting to me as a deficit. She's much more valuable to me for Cassian as an absence, as in the way, as he says in the end, maybe I should stop saving people. His need to return and save people and to be the savior and the compulsion to do so comes from his hole in his life. And I didn't really want to fill that in. So basically, yeah, I agree here. He's saying that, not seeing what happened to Kino Loy makes what happened to Kino Loy so much deeper. Like at the end of Andor 1, the way he just was like, fuck, I can't swim. Like not knowing what happened, like that's crazy. That like if we sort of pull back the veil on that, it's kind of like looking behind the curtain. No longer a wizard, just some crusty old man, with some controls. So it's like, seeing how the sausage is made. Maybe not such a good idea. Makes the sausage a little bit better, not knowing it's full of lips and assholes. But I digress. All around, also not around in the finale. How's Mon Mothma's daughter marriage going? I don't care. Favorite shot in the season was the finale when the ISB commander shot himself off camera. We're watching outside the door and the two stormtroopers flinch and the other guy just slightly raises his hand. It was a beautiful bit of visual storytelling right there. Michael Jean is really a fine actor. Yep. This is a really long interview. How do you change Rogue One? Okay. How do you hope Andor changes the way people watch Rogue One? As soon as I finished the screeners, I immediately rewatched it. How was it? I haven't done it yet. It really works and largely matches up well. You have this feeling of dread for Cassian from the moment he rolls into it. I didn't want to do it before the junket. I mean, for all those people that thought the Cassian Jyn Erso relationship was the be all end all romance, like, my God, what does it do to that? So I haven't watched it, but I probably will. Yeah, that's interesting. I kept thinking, like, was Bix the girl that Cassian was with? But that's Jyn Erso. Like, Bix never finds him again. He never finds Bix again after the rebellion. After or in Rogue
not before
One.
he dies. Yeah, not before he dies. No.
In Rogue One, right? Yeah. Man, that's wild. Well, that's where Serkis was. That's what went on afterwards and all of that good shit. But let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about Superman. Let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend. Big Soups.
Yeah,
Big Soups.
Movie's looking better and better. Just keeps looking better and better. I mean, watching it, there's a lot of Easter eggs in that trailer, and there's a lot of homage that he pays to the Superman lore, DC Comics. I'm loving it, bro. Listen, Superman's gonna be good. I'm saying it now. I'm not even gonna front. It's gonna be good, and I can't wait to see it.
It looks so dope, bro. I mean, yeah.
I can't wait. Like in the beginning of the trailer, he's being interviewed by Lois Lane.
Where is Spade? Where is Spade?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he should be here for this.
Yeah, man.
Absorbing Man is how Lex is making. That's true. Absorbing Man can make kryptonite.
Metamorpho.
Metamorpho. Also, in the beginning of the trailer, they show Lois Lane interviewing Superman, which pays homage to Superman 1, where Lois Lane, he flew to the balcony and interviewed her. She interviewed him and things, and then they flew away and did the flying scene. Listen, it's just dope, man. I can't sit there. And she knows he's Superman, which totally sets the movie to a whole different pace. So we don't have to go through her learning he's Superman and going through that whole sequence. So we know this is further along in Soup's career than originally was given in those first movies, the first set of movies, even in Men of Steel.
All right, let's chop it up. Let's bust it up. So this is the trailer. We're gonna watch it first. Then I'm gonna talk about.
There's Ultraman on Earth 1.
I thought he's Superman. I thought Earth 1 he's Superman. He's not Ultraman.
He is Superman, but he calls himself Ultraman. The bosses.
No,
now, Earth. Now check
in
it
Earth
on Earth
2,
3.
In Earth 2, Superman is Ultraman, but in Earth 1, Superman is Superman, so there is no Ultraman in Earth 1. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
There is a on Earth 1, that Ultraman
Isn't
is
Ultraman Superman in
Ultraman.
the other universe? Isn't
Yeah.
Ultraman just Superman in that universe?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's he's a Kryptonian, but he's Ultraman, not Superman.
You mean he's not
See him?
Kal-El?
No, he's Ultraman. He
What's his
landed on
name?
Earth and he's
What's his
Ultraman.
Kryptonian name?
Let me see. I'll find out for you right now. Because
All right.
they don't really say in the comics what it. They just say Ultraman. Boss of
Mm,
bosses, that's his name.
mm.
So
I love
in
this
every
scene right
world,
here,
just like there's a
man. Dude, you know what this chick reminded me of?
Who?
The girl that was with Zod in the first in the second movie, in the second Donner. Ursa, yeah.
Ursa All.
Ursa All, yeah. Ursa All. But we'll get into that in a minute, but that's who I thought she reminded me of. And then of course Ultraman is there, and then you have Rick Flag Sr. over there played by Frank Grillo. And there Lois Lane is interviewing him, and there's Ultraman just slamming his face into the asphalt. There's Lex Luthor.
So we know that only Superman can get into Fortress of Solitude. He made a giant key. His key's like Thor. Goes home and gets babied up by his mom.
Now here's why I say, guys, that this movie is the Superman film finally for the comic fans. Every Superman movie before this movie was a Superman movie for Americans, right? Or the global audience, right? Just casual people, anybody, everyone can relate to Superman. Everybody loves Superman. Superman for everybody. Superman never gets beat up. Superman, or he never dies. He never gets caught. He never gets beat. He never loses. He's just impenetrable and always wins and everything. But those of us who read comics know that's not how it goes in the comics. In the comics, Superman gets beat up all the time. He gets captured. He gets fucking defeated. There's and bro, that's what I love about James Gunn and what he's doing here. He did not treat Superman like some untouchable, gem. He's definitely a comic book character, a superhero, fallible as any other, weaknesses like any other. And there's other characters involved too. So that's what I love too, because the other thing about Superman movies before this, there was never any other characters but Superman. There was never any other superheroes running around. Maybe you had some villains or something that you recognize from the comics, but that's it. And again, those of us who read comics know, in an average Superman comic, you might see, 10 different fucking characters. Characters come in and out. The Justice League is there. It's DC. Everyone's there. I mean, characters come and go. It's not just like a movie. And here you have James Gunn doing that same thing. I know a lot of people were worried. I hope there's not too many characters. It doesn't get oversaturated, blah, blah, blah. Dude, read a comic. Read a comic. That's how comics are done. Damn. Okay. Spade said he's at work right now, but he might be available Saturday, so hopefully he can come in Saturday and chime in on his feelings on the movie so far. Our resident Superman super fan. But yeah, this is Soups here in like a cell, presumably, and there's Metamorpho in the background. I wish. Oh shit! Hold on, we got the three. Damn, I want to pause it where we can see their faces. God damn, is it really that hard? There we go. Guy Gardner. So Mr. Terrific is over there sitting on like his floating balls that kind of make like a chair for him. That's really cool. He can't fly, but he just floats around on his ball. Oh, it's like a thing strapped onto his legs. It's like a little chair, I guess, that floats around. Okay, little pieces. And there's Guy Gardner with such a disappointing haircut, man. I wish that his bowl cut was shaved around the sides, bro. Shaved around. A real bowl cut. All they did was give him bangs and long hair. He's supposed to have shaved around the back and sides, bowl cut on the top. They almost did it. I made a dope meme on Instagram that showed how it should look, and you can check that out on my Instagram. Matter of fact, I'll show you right now. This is what I'm talking about, Stu. This is of what I speak. This is what I speak of. Well, God damn it. There you go. Now, on the far left, that's the movie, right? The one in the middle is how it should be, and you can see the comic versions on the right that prove my point. You see?
Yeah.
You see the one on the one they didn't shave it around the sides, and so it's really just like bangs. That's not a bowl cut. The bowl cut's in the middle, and the one in the middle just even looks cooler. Like he looks more badass in the middle, and definitely looks more like the comics. So I wish they had done that, but anyway, they didn't. But instead, we get Nathan Fillion, who I think is going to kill it. Cal 2, New 52. His Krypton name is Cal 2, New 52, Ultraman,
That's
Alter
that's
Ego, Clark.
Ultraman's. Yeah, that's
Ultraman.
Ultraman's. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the comics, he's
Cal 2.
Clark Kent. Instead of being
Yeah.
Superman, he's Ultraman. But and then when they rewrote it for the New 52, his Kryptonian name, which they finally gave up, was Cal too. He is literally the evil iteration of Superman because you got to remember on that Earth, everybody that's good is evil. Everybody that's evil is good. That's just what
Yeah.
it is. So anybody that's good on Earth, on Earth Prime,
It's evil
is
on
evil
Earth.
too, and everybody that's good on Earth 1 is evil on Earth 2, and I mean everybody. So,
So
it doesn't
hopefully,
matter. So all your heroes are villains, and all your villains are heroes.
yeah, and so hopefully they'll fucking will this will be just every bit as dope as it looks. It'll be very much like I said, this is the Superman for the comic fan. And
It is.
just
It
because,
literally is.
yeah, I mean it just is because like
Because right there you got Hulk Girl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. I mean, helping Superman. Superman was getting and the girl that's in the that was in the Fortress of Solitude. That's why I said he had to be able to use Kryptonian DNA to get in there because the door wouldn't open. That door just
right,
won't open for anybody. It would
right.
only open and then he has crypto movies. Remember she was
Because
the
Gene
limo
Hackman
driver
had
in
that fat dude. Oh, okay.
right. Remember she was the limo driver in Justice League Unlimited. Remember Lex Luthor always was with the girl. He was always with the girl. Remember she always had the hat and drove the
Yeah.
limos and all that.
Mm. Yeah, and she's definitely got some tech. Now this shit right here is interesting. They part the sea here with some, I don't know, it looks like some sort of like technology that sort of just creates like a I don't know what, a canyon. It's very interesting because I think it's probably something that Lex has going on.
Or maybe that's where the kaiju came out of. Kaiju's coming out the ocean.
Yeah, I mean this is yeah, I mean I guess we could say that's the sea, but what is this blue shit that comes up out of the water here and creates like a barrier from the water?
That's
That's
that's the
something.
rift that the kaiju's come out of. Just
Yeah.
like in your favorite kaiju movie.
Uh-huh.
Because we know
Yeah.
kaiju's come out of rifts at
Out of
the
the
bottom of the
ocean.
ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good hypotheses there. There's some cool ships going on, some spaceships. Not some, yeah, some. There's a spaceship right there in the middle of the Fifth Avenue.
Trying to see what it looks like. Yeah, that's Bulvaria or whatever that comes. That's Bulvaria. in the other country. That's the war that you can just put two and two together. That's the war he claims he stopped when Lois Lane was interviewing him at the beginning.
Oh, it ain't
He claimed he stopped
Latveria.
the war.
Latveria is Doom.
Not Latveria, Bulgaria,
Um.
Bulgaria,
Oh, right. Bolivia
Bulgaria,
or
and no, I was like Bolivia and Latveria, whatever two countries is fighting. But I know
mm-hmm.
the Bulgarian hammer is the thing that he's fighting in the beginning.
Oh,
That's shooting the laser beams.
wait, where's the hammer?
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. I think that's the scene right there. Right there.
What?
Go back.
This?
Go back.
Oh, the fire?
No, wait. Yeah, go back right there. Should be right there. Shit showing up. It ain't showing. It should show him right there. They show him shooting the beams at him. I think they show him again at the end of the trailer too. And he says, "Hey, right here, up here." He says, "Eyes up," and then he flies up.
Mm. Yeah, that's hard. So I mean,
Now, if you look at the right there,
where's
that's the
oh,
Bulgarian. That's the Bulgarian hammer right there.
what, the guy? The suit?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a fucking hammer.
No, that's the name of the suit that he's fighting. Or
Okay.
robot. Well, that's the Bulgarian hammer.
Look like Hulkbuster.
Yeah, it does.
There he is, blasting a hole through this office, choking out Superman. I mean, that's
Superman work.
giving him work. Like that's cool. That's definitely comic book shit right there.
Yeah, giving Superman the business.
The business.
And Superman's like, "Your eyes up." Like, "Eyes up,
Yeah.
dog. You about to
I
get
thought he's
sued."
like deuces.
So he says, "Eyes up, dog."
Yeah.
If you read his lips, he's like, "Eyes up, dog. You about to get souped." And he flies up.
He throws up deuces. Deuces. Fuck y'all.
And he's like, "Eyes up, homie. Come up here and get souped."
It's gonna be dope. But yeah, I mean it looks dope. It looks dope. An immediate reveal from the trailer is just how strong the chemistry is between Lois Lane and Clark Kent. You get to see that in their interview, which their whole interaction, the way they talk, like you get to really see how Corn Sweat's playing the character and what he's going to be like. I mean, this trailer really, if you were wondering what the movie was going to be like, still, this I think should tell you. It tells me I can't wait, dude. If you talk shit about this movie, you are hating. You are a hater. Period. If you don't like this shit, you're a hater, or just you don't like comic book movies and don't watch superhero movies. But like, if you like Superman, if you like superhero movies and you don't like this movie, you're fucking hating. I'm sorry. Calling it. There's just no way to. So it's phenomenal. It looks dope. Now, you might say, this isn't how I would have made the Superman movie. And I say to that, then go fucking make a Superman movie. But
I was going to say you're right. And when you're the director, you can do whatever you want.
yeah,
As we saw with Iron Fist, where the director refused to put him in the costume, and he wanted Danny Rand to look the way he wanted Danny Rand to look. Danny Rand only had one fist that lit up and was indestructible, not two fists and 2 feet. And to me, in that series, he actually teased us and gave us a big middle finger when he was showing the black and white footage of Iron Fist, dressed like Iron Fist, doing karate, like with all 4 extremities lit up, kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
We can't get that in the modern day. Hey, it's his show. That's
also,
what he wants to do.
This trailer, it reveals that there's going to include a Batman vs Superman plot, because stemming from the chemistry between Lois and Clark, the Superman trailer reveals that the plot of the film will actually link to one from the Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. The latter featured Superman getting himself into legal trouble with the U.S. government due to his free reign as a superhero across the world and the lack of oversight that he faced. And so it seems like Superman will have, this movie is going to have a similar story like that, where, almost like the Civil War Marvel story where they, have to get registered. The interview with Lois Lane from Superman, from the trailer, shows her monitoring the heat Superman's receiving from the public. And she, goes on to state that the Secretary of Defense will be looking into his actions and all that shit. So, and he riles up and, it's feels he doesn't need oversight. He's just to fly over a country and stop a war and save lives. But hey, they want that war, man. They don't want you to stop it. That's why they started it. Creature Commandos Rick Flag Sr. is going against Superman. We see Frank Grillo as Rick Flag, the guy from the Creature Commandos cartoon that had white hair. See him going against Superman. The mention of the Secretary of Defense is interesting because it reveals that Rick Flag Sr. is in this role. And Rick Flag Sr. appeared in Creature Commandos. He was the first official DCU project. He was the father of the Suicide Squad's Rick Flag. And, it seems like Flag is moved up in the world since Creature Commandos, now, to the Secretary of Defense and rocking and working with them and Lex Luthor. The Engineer and Ultraman work for the U.S. government. The Engineer, I believe, is going to be, the Engineer is, the female is the Engineer. The female character, that's right. Remember, we were talking about, there's a crew, there's a team that she's from. They're going to do a movie.
They did the cartoon about it. All Stars.
No, they're not all. It's called
Superman versus the I got the damn movie. Oh man.
Absolute. What is it? It's the not the absolute. I don't know. It's a team, and they're kind of like misfits. They're like, they're like the Authority. It's called the Authority.
The Authority. Yeah.
She's a character from the Authority called the Engineer. She's a villain. And that's who she is. And since the film was announced, several villains have been rumored for Superman. Some have been debunked, and some, obviously, the Engineer and Ultraman have been proven to be in the movie. It's unclear exactly how these two villains are going to fold into the overall story, or who, what version of this or that character we'll have to see. But with the later of the element of the trailer potentially revealing their dual loyalties with Rick Flag Sr. and the government, and so.
But that also confirms too, that everything's established. The villains are established. We don't have to go through these long origin stories and things like that. It might be a slight origin story or flashback, which James Gunn does, which is perfect for movies because I don't want to sit through 40 minutes of somebody's the Engineer, somebody's origin story, and we already know, Liquid Nanotech. The Engineer, she's part of the Authority team. But she uses nanotechnology, and she is an expertise in nanotechnology. Particularly her ability to replace her blood with liquid nanites. That's what grants her superhuman abilities. But,
another thing we get to see, I think, in this trailer is it outlines the best thing about Superman, the thing that I think guys like Spade and big fans of the character want and are depending on. When Clark says, "I wasn't representing anybody except for me and doing good," and when he's talking to Lois, because when he's talking to Lois, she's like, the government, like you went in and on behalf of this government or that, and he's like, I wasn't representing anybody except for me and doing good. And it's old fashioned, but James Gunn has identified it as a film about a man who cares about kindness in a world that thinks kindness is old fashioned. And this is proven by one line in this movie, and that's the line, I wasn't representing except for me and doing good. And it truly proves how well James Gunn will convey Superman's ideals of inherent goodness, with Clark's line, accompanied by the shots of him saving a young girl from a truck crash. And then, and like you said, the hammer from Bavaria, we get to see that. We see Lex Luthor and his minions attacking the Fortress of Solitude, running up in that motherfucker. And how it plays out remains to be seen, but the action looks dope. And I think the special effects look
Hey,
great. It looks fucking sick.
yeah.
Oh, you saw
You were saying
Crypto
people.
jumping on the engineer and
I seen
kicked
her.
her?
Yeah, kicked her.
Ooh,
And
that
she
was
got
hard.
mad,
That was
and she
hard.
was like, "Oh." But that's like people say Superman doesn't get beat up. Like we were watching Man of Steel when he was fighting
Needs to.
Nam and Ursa. When he's fighting Nam and Ursa, Nam and Ursa was giving him work,
Yeah.
and he was trying to actually get away. And then remember Nam threw a train at him, and he fell into the building. And then they
Yeah.
picked up Zod and left. But Soup gets beat up sometimes. I mean, these robots here are homage paid to the comic because in the comic, Superman has robots working for. He made
Yeah.
robots Superman to take his place, just in case something happened to
Mhm.
him, or he has like an army of robots in the Fortress
Yeah.
of Solitude.
And what happened? Oh, not that shit. All right. Yeah, there's Crypto jumping on the engineer in the face. Pow! And keeps flying, jumps down, ripped her face off. Look at that. Ripped a whole chunk out of her face. So think he
Here
Ron
comes Lex
O'Neal.
Luthor. Yeah, he came in walking like he Ron O'Neill's.
Wow.
Crypto like, get up out of here. Why you
That was
even in
dope.
here? And that's why I said in order to get in there, they had to use Ultraman. That's why I said Ultraman has to be Bizarro. Um,
Yeah.
because you have to have Kryptonian DNA in order to even get in there, or you got to be able to lift the key.
Yeah. Yeah. And we get to see Ma and Pa Kent. We get to see flashbacks of Clark Kent's childhood. We'll get to see we see that from the trailer. And the film will obviously delve into the childhood that Clark experienced as an adopted child of John and Martha, and you know, with like an almost found footage like shots, kind of showing a young Clark hugging Pa Kent, and this is accompanied by a line from Jonathan, reassuring Clark that that his choices and actions make him who he is. And later, then you see Ma Kent is heard saying that she washed Superman's boots, indicating the lovable family relationship that we'll get to see in the show. We saw Superman imprisoned by Lex alongside Metamorpho. So Lex Luthor's like the collector out here, just collecting motherfuckers. And all the supporting characters in Superman, the one shown the least is Metamorpho. So at one point, Superman's official trailer, Clark is shown in a glass prison, presumably imprisoned by Lex Luthor, and in the same cell as Superman, we saw Metamorpho, and so
Downfall.
he can take on the form of different chemicals, different periodic elements, and shit like that. And how exactly Metamorpho will be a part of the story is unclear. But what we do know is that he gets on Lex Luthor's bad side in some way, just like Superman, and ends up, or maybe just Lex is just like wants to study them, and he's just like you know
Right.
intrigued. Maybe
Or
it's not that he's mad.
maybe it's early in Metamorpho's career. We do know he was an outsider, and we do know that the history of the outsiders, they weren't always understood. So
Oh, the group, the
this might
Outsiders,
right.
right?
So this might lead up to how he became an outsider. James Gunn is going to spin it, and he's going to tell the story. He's going to tell the comic book story. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah,
So we already know what Metamorpho's story is. We just don't know how Gunn's going to tell it in this Superman movie. We know that. So just be prepared to have a good time, man. Get your popcorn and have a good time.
yeah, yeah. Get your popcorn, have a good time. Um, yeah, Lex Luthor, he gets a few speaking lines in the trailer, but finally revealing why the character hates Superman so much. He's just a jealous motherfucker. He's expectedly, this motivation links somewhat to DC Comics, right? That's kind of how he says he isn't a man, he's an it that has somehow become the focal point of the entire world's conversation. I will not accept that.
Mhm.
Uh,
And
you know,
in the comics, we know that Lex Luthor looks at Superman as being powerful as he is. But what he doesn't understand is like Lex Luthor looks at it like I had to work for my power. I had to do this. I had to do that. I worked to gain the power that I have, and he was just given abilities from nowhere, and he
Yeah.
has all these. Like that's literally in the comics. That's literally in Superman for All Seasons. That's what he says to Superman. Like I work for mine,
Yeah.
and you just get
Yeah.
power. So he's jealous. Not only is he jealous of Superman, he hates him. He hates him because that he has
Mm.
power and he has power that he doesn't have. You know, he can
Right.
fly, people love him. You know what I mean? He has super strength, super speed,
Mhm.
all the things that Superman can do, and he doesn't want power, he doesn't want money, he doesn't want to rule the world.
And the
He's not
world just
Donald Trump. He just
is on
wants
his
right. He
nuts.
just wants to be right. He's just a good guy. And Lex Luthor can't understand it, but he can't stand it at the same time.
Yep.
and he and then some people in Lex Luthor's eyes looks at Superman as a god, but Superman tells him he's not. And if they looked at Lex Luthor wants people to look at him as a god because he has money and power and access to things that normal people don't have, like the engineer and
Yeah.
Ultraman.
Yeah. And now, and speaking of gods, we get the first look at the International Justice League International, right? The team founded by Maxwell Lord is expected to be part of Superman and definitely the DCU. You got Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, Guy Gardner, all being members of the Justice League International team. And this shot from Superman's official trailer is definitely confirmation. You know, we see them flying above Metropolis and similarly designed super suits, potentially becoming the. I mean, if you didn't notice, their suits are all pretty much the same. That's the Justice League International suit. It's not just Mr. Terrific's suit. Go ahead and look at Hawkgirl. Her suit looks just like his, and Mr. Green Lantern there. It's just like theirs, but instead of an orange stripe, it's got a green one. And then it's got the lantern kind of belt. But other than that, their suits are very similar, showing that they are part of a team already. So this is the first DC team in the DCU. We get to see Jimmy Olsen in this motherfucker. There is a couple of reveals. We got James Gunn's humor. Will definitely is showcased. We'll definitely see that. And I don't know if okay, it's not really. I mean, DC and the multiverse, like that's a big part of DC. It's not, whereas like, and also Marvel too. I mean, they both have a lot of multiversal shit that goes on in the comics, and we never had any DC multiversal shit in any movie, especially no Superman movie. But I think the final reveal here, worth mentioning from Superman's trailer, is the potentiality of a multiversal story, because we do get a few quick glimpses towards the end of the trailer at this. You get what do you call it? The with Mr. Terrific and Lois Lane looking like they're standing in a portal of some sort, and the portal exits into a dark void, like some sort of dark plane or whatever. And there we go. And Snyder Bot's losing your mind. Yeah. But yeah, this shit looks hard, bro. And let me see here. The portal exits into a dark void-like plane that Superman is later briefly shown flying through amid the debris of multiple buildings. And this, combined with the hints from Peacemaker Season 2's trailer that we'll check out, could indicate that Superman is already hinting at multiversal possibilities for the DCU's future. But shout out to Kavari. And we are talking about the DCU Superman trailer right now, and how this shit is undeniable. Like this shit looks amazing.
And don't forget, we still got Lombard in there. We got Cat Grant in there. We got Perry White, who's played by my man. I forget his name, but he was just in Thunderbolt. I get his real name. Jimmy Olsen's in there. Lois Lane. So you got. There's a lot of supporting. There's the Superman supporting cast, and they go deep into the Daily Planet staff. I mean, Ron Thorpe, Cat Grant, Stephen Bart, and these people are going to be probably said by name by James Gunn in this movie.
Oh,
You know,
yo, did I just realize that the girl that plays Hawkgirl is the girl from Last of Us? Okay, so if you're watching
Yeah.
Last
I've
of
never
Us right
seen.
now,
I never seen her face. I never seen the face of the Hawk girl.
I know, but now I see her face. So check this out. So if you're watching Last of Us, in season 2, Ellie's quote unquote girlfriend in this one, let me get this off the screen, is played by, I believe, or the Hawk girl rather, is played by the same girl. Why is this not? Oh, come on, function. Work with me. So here she is. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's hard to tell because it's kind of like not a straight on picture of her, but that looks like the girl that's in the Last of Us, currently in Last of Us, and I'll show you who I'm talking about. We can decide right now. I mean, we can look up the name and all that real quick.
What
The fuck? Isabella Merced. Yep, that's her. Holy shit. Yeah, she's great. I think that's gonna be really cool. So that's dope. What do we got here? So I just mentioned the Peacemaker season 2 trailer. And that actually explained by game changing DC universe theory. Let me see here. Peacemaker season 2 teased a multiversal story. Well, check this out. There's Guy Gardner. There's Hawk Girl. There is Maxwell Lord, and also played by James Gunn's brother. And there's Peacemaker, and they're all talking to Peacemaker. So it's like the Justice League International all talking to Peacemaker there. And here is the trailer real quick. Let's see. While we knew Peacemaker's into Frank Grillo Sr. connecting the show, the DCU to Creature Commando Superman Enterprise. John Cena's shut up. Let's blow this up. Bang.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in this. I mean, look at the people he's talking to.
Right.
First of all, there's Green Lantern.
Yep. He's talking
There's
to Green
Hawk
Lantern,
Girl.
Hawk Girl, and Maxwell Lord.
One of them, and Maxwell Lord, yeah.
Now, to hear what they're saying, go watch the trailer. But
They were basically, yeah, in the trailer, they flipped the switch and didn't know that the mic was hot. And they were talking about him. And one of them called him a loser. Somebody was like, is this guy really, is he a joke? Like, what? And then he was like, I can hear you guys. And then they turned the mic. They realized the mic is hot and they turned it off. They're like, huh? And he's like, are you supposed to be talking about me or are you supposed to be? So.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. And Guy Gardner was the one that like, this guy's a loser. It's like, it's funny. It's just funny. He's like, damn, the mic was hot the whole time. So now here he's calling it out. You got to play this part, man. It's short, but we got to play that part. He's calling them all different names. But watch the name drop at the end of that little sequence right there that he gives.
Some of this part?
No. The part where the guy was go forward.
Oh.
Yeah, see the mic's hot right there, but go for it. Keep going. Right here where go back. Right there where the black guy was talking to the four people.
This
right
one?
there. Yeah, he's dropping. Okay. You know how you talk to somebody and they don't know your name, but they're just calling you names of people they think you look like or whatever.
Right. Right.
But it's a rude way. So he's being rude, but he's telling them what to do. And he's giving his name drop, but at the end, I don't think people realize the big name drop at the end that shows that everything in this universe is connected.
What's the name?
Gotta play it. Just play it. Let it go.
I want you to take the front door. Casino man, you take the back door. Got it? Yeah, but not the fucking names, dude. You can't just call us that. Where do you think we are? Fucking Berkeley?
Talking about that?
Yeah.
Where do you think we are, Berkeley?
I mean, I don't know what's up with the trailer, but he said a different name on the one I saw. He was like, "Do you think I'm such and such?" I think it comes later, but they're talking. And they drop some. But it's dope the way everything's connected. Like I like the way. Yeah, like it's
no, they're definitely connected. DCU
she drops names. Yeah. Amanda Waller's daughter drops names too. Like
with my
from
boy
other, Hitman. I mean, not Hitman.
Vigilante.
What's it?
Vigilante.
Vigilante?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think he was coming back, bro. I didn't think he was coming back from the last one.
Ah, shit. I can't get it. I was gonna bust out my Vigilante comic book. I got the comic book with Vigilante on the cover.
Yeah, Vigilante that's my boy right there.
Oh yeah, he was the best part of Peacemaker one.
Yeah, he was. He stole the show. I give him credit. Right here, too. That's another. This is another thing. Look,
Oh, who was that guy? Looked just like you.
mm,
Yeah, man. Nathan Fillion's Green Garner. This is what I said. Both appear in Peacemaker. However, despite the clear connection to DCU, the trailer's ending is the most interesting part of the footage of John Cena's DCU story. We see two versions of Peacemaker share the screen, with one in full superhero suit pointing a gun at underwear wearing Christopher Smith. I'm convinced those will be the DCU and DCEU versions of Peacemaker. So we know that Peacemaker was part of the DCEU, and it was but it was by James Gunn. So when he takes over and he does the DCU, he's like, well, I'm still keeping my Peacemaker, and we have to make it make sense with the DCU. So by what they did was, it's two different versions of the character rather than some weird. Ooh, interesting. So we'll see how that multiversal shenanigans works out.
And also, remember, we got to ask the question: how did he survive when he got shot in the face at the end of Suicide Squad?
That's a good point.
Because they never explain that either. He wakes up in the hospital, but they don't explain how he survived.
Peacemaker season 2 theory: John Cena's DC hero kills himself. Let's see. Peacemaker season 2. I believe the multiverse is in play here rather than time travel, as the version of the Peacemaker who has the gun sports a new helmet, and most importantly, the dove emblem on his chest is facing upwards. In Peacemaker season, right? So it's a different version of the character. In Peacemaker season 1, the suit's emblem was inverted with the dove looking down. So I'm convinced that is a subtle tease about the different universes. Yep. See, there's the dove right there with the head facing down, and here's the dove you can see here with the head facing up. Real blatant. There's a Superman Peacemaker trailer right there. It says Peacemaker season 2 releases in August 2025 after the Superman. So July we get Superman, August we get Peacemaker. Bada bing, like that.
Dope. And that's how it should be. Dope. Because I think Marvel should have did that with Captain America and Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, we should have got Falcon and Winter Soldier, and a month later, boom, Captain America. Because it would make more sense.
Well, here's a great segue, guys. So word on the street is James Gunn's going to announce a Superman game to build the hype. I've not heard that. Have we heard that? Have we heard that too?
Yes.
Have we heard that?
Now this is the real rumor. This is the real rumor. I
think?
don't know how true it is, but there are little subtle, and when I say subtle hints. So we know Rocksteady is the people that did the Batman games. And in the Batman games, they make a lot of references to Superman and Metropolis. They haven't bought out a Batman game in a long time. And when they did, it was like the last one they bought out was the Bat Family. But people are saying from the studio, it's been leaked from the studio, that they are in the works on a Superman game that was like the Batman games, and they just aren't saying anything. They just they just so there's some truth to it, but we don't know how much. We don't know if it's true that they're developing it and shelved it, or they're developing it and waiting for the right time to put it out, or if it's in development. Rocksteady did put out something a while back stating that it is a possibility that they are working on a Superman game, but they've treated it like a
All
UFO
right.
sighting. Like I saw something,
Well,
but I don't
I know
know.
you got to go.
But
So
even
let's
Rocksteady,
move on.
right?
I know
But
you
I
got to
do
go.
hope, but I
So
do hope
let's jump on this
that that
next
is
topic.
true. I do hope that
I
that is
hope it's
true.
true. But since you brought that up, I'm gonna skip the Marvel stuff I gotta talk about. I'm not gonna skip it because we gotta talk about I got some behind the scenes shit I gotta show you. But there's a while back, Hasbro, Wizards of West Coast, and Atomic Arcade announced a AAA video game centered on Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. We haven't seen much since the initial announcement, but the developers finally offered us a glimpse at the game in a post on Twitter. It's just a small look at an in-engine character model for the Ninja Snake Eyes. We don't get to see the mask, but we just kind of get to see some weapons and like a hand. But you can definitely tell, what it is and that it's Snake Eyes, and it's pretty cool. But it tells us what the kind of game it's going to be, how it's going to kind of look, realistic, cartoon, what. And it's hard to get a lot from the images, but we do see Snake Eyes rocking a black costume with some green highlights. The sword also features an Arashikage clan logo, which is a nice detail. And from a little bit, that we can see, it's probably a safe bet that Snake Eyes will have a design that closely resembles the version 2 of the toy with the visor, the main popular one released in 1985. Given that the look, that's the look that Hasbro most often uses with G.I. Joe media, memorabilia, and whatnot. And so that would make most sense, but hopefully we'll see some of the characters' alternate designs, probably get some alternate costumes, some skins and shit like that, unlockable. But check out the here you go, bada bing bang boom. Now, this here is Snake Eyes' elbow. Blow that up for you. There's his elbow, and here's his forearm with his hand down here holding the sword. There's the Arashikage logo right there. That's the back of Snake Eyes' head. I feel like that's the visor right there. We don't know. There's the Arashikage logo on his shoulder, as we normally would get, and he's got a AR-15 there on his back with the sword hilt. I do see all that. And then here we've got him holding the AR. This is his trigger finger here. There's his hand on the gun. Here's the lower that he's holding. Here's the butt stock. And here's his forearm. There's a bracer there with like a dragon logo on it. Oh, wow. It looks like just like the dragon tattoo I have. And yeah. So it's going to be a very realistic, very badass, like bloody assassin, mercenary, fucking guns and swords. Hell yeah. What do you say, Stu?
It's dope. I'm down with it. I hope so. Listen, a G.I. Joe game, open world, Snake Eye, that's gonna bring
I
it
don't know
back.
about open world, but yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be open world, but I know I'm hoping it's at least third person. I want to see Snake Eyes while please don't
Yeah,
give
me
me
too. I don't.
first
Yeah, I don't want
person
the first
bullshit.
person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If it's a good action adventure third person, yeah, it'll definitely
Oh
it'll
yeah.
do well. It's gotta be done right, but it'll do well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good one. I think it's gonna be a good one. It's hard to get it wrong at in this day and age. As long as you just do something, AAA. But G.I. Joe had a recent like indie game, little yeah.
I played that game. That game is good. That GI Joe
The side
game is dope.
scroller.
That's
Yeah.
hell yeah, bro. I play that
Yeah, I
joint.
want to play that shit.
I play that joint. Yeah, I play it. It's good. It's,
Nice.
it's real good.
Check out these photos of Spider-Man Noir, Nick Cage. I put the gauge in your braids. Wait a minute. How come you don't see it? Wait a minute. What's going on? That's the wrong one. I'll put the gauge to your braids. All right. Boom. That's Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir. It looks like a drawing or some shit, but that's an actual photograph, black and white photo. It's like a sweater material. The face, the mask. I mean, it's like not like a sweater, but like a mesh almost,
Yeah.
like a mesh material. Yeah. What else? And we had some good pictures. We saw them of him standing up on the roof and shit of the car. Remember that?
Yeah.
Those were some good. Those are some good photos. Let me see if they're on here.
Yeah, they might have took him down. You never know.
I know, because them joints were hard. They don't have them up here. The one more thing we got with Dr. Doom. We got the Ironheart featurette. But here's Robert Downey bulking up, beefing up, Stu Dog getting ready.
I can't believe they going through with that, the Ironheart thing, man. I really can't. We'll see.
Yeah,
But I can't believe it.
I know, dog. I can't believe it either.
Listen,
I don't know.
I'll give anything a chance, but damn.
God damn it, man. Why is it doing this to me? All right, there we go. Finally, like 7 times I'm trying to put the damn video, the picture up. Here's Robert Downey Jr. getting swole for Doom. Wow, he really did get swole. Is that like a padded suit? That's like I don't know if that's a padded suit or he's really swole. This says similar to filming. Reading Renner's book and feeling stronger already. What a journey to wisdom. Very instructive. A must read. Avengers Doomsday kicked off production in London, but Anthony Mackie recently shared a video behind the scenes of the team out in the snow. What?
Wherever you are, I hope it's a warm, beautiful, sunny day.
Ah, man, fuck you. You making movies. I don't care what the weather's like. If I'm making movies, I'm happy than a motherfucker. But yeah, Downey's getting bulked up for Doom, playing Victor Vaughn himself. Ironheart, I don't know. I don't have any none. I don't know. It's just not for me.
Famous creative in the comic book world, creative character, Riri Williams. A lot of people think that she's a successor to the Iron Man legacy. Oh,
He always tripped me out the way he talked.
on the comic book shop. I was really thinking
Crap.
that thing.
He like pronounces his S's with a SH.
He do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he do.
The buzz around the industry. I was really excited. In 2016,
I'm really excited.
Brian Michael Bendis, a really famous
Brian Michael Bendish. It's not Bendish, it's Bendis.
creative in the comic book world, creative character, Riri Williams. A lot of people think that she's a successor
Riri Williams. Riri Williams.
to the Iron Man legacy. But in the comic book, Riri and Tony had a friendship. He was kind of advising her, and eventually she got her own identity as Ironheart.
Oh.
It's exciting for me bringing that character into the MCU and Wakanda fabric.
The story of Ironheart is not a story about the mantle of Iron Man getting.
He did say MCU.
Yeah, and he just said it. The story of Ironheart is not the story of Iron Man's mantle getting passed. The story of Ironheart is this supposed story where this young girl just on her own creates an Iron Man suit. You know, she just replicates what Tony does, all on her own. Just, you know, whatever. I mean, it's so derivative. Like, you're just biting another character. Like, I don't know. without even paying homage, without even acknowledging or acting like the character, did some sort of protege work or mantle passing or whatever. Just gonna act like you came up with the idea on your own.
That's Disney. So then they can do what they want with it. Like you said, it's all about as many females they can put in the Marvel universe as they want. But I mean, if you're gonna do
That's
that,
fine. No, the females ain't the problem. The problem is the character. Like,
it's the character, right? That's my point.
Yeah.
No, that's my point. If you're gonna listen, like we always say on this show, we like female characters. Just give us good ones.
Yeah, give us good
Stop
ones.
giving us. Yeah, stop giving us. I don't know. Stop giving us this cookie cutter, whatever you want to call it. Hollywood, bad writer.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't even have her looking like the comic at all. Like, come on, why? Like, look how she looks in the comic. Her suit's all sleek and thin, and it's got colors. It's colorful, and they give her this bulky ass jetpack suit that's just white and gray or white and black. Like, that's lame, bro. What's the point? What are you trying to prove with that suit? That's not how she looks.
Right.
I could have been down if she looked if they were gonna make it, comic accurate, I could have been down. But I can't be down.
Right.
I mean, maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll
Listen,
be
Miss
good.
Marvel surprised us. Miss Marvel
Miss Marvel
surprised. This might surprise us too. This might act, and I know I know a lot of people that say that about Miss Marvel. It's like, you know what? Once I sat and watched it, it was good.
It's good. It's a good show.
Yeah. It was entertaining. Like I said, I just want to be entertained. If you're gonna do that, entertain me. Entertain me, but don't give me the crap. I don't want it. I pay too much for Disney Plus to watch crap.
Yeah, no more crap. We don't need it. We don't deserve it. Where has the Hulk been this whole time, and where's he going to be in Avengers? What's he doing? What's he going to be doing in Doomsday? Let's find out. This is Mark Ruffalo's current, or rather future status. Let me see what it says. Mark Ruffalo's status as Hulk in Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars has been revealed. I'm interested to know where he's been. Let's see. As things stand, the MCU has 4 Hulks. Red Hulk is alive and well in the Raft and Abomination. Though Amadeus Cho's planned Captain America Brave New World debut was scrapped despite being added during reshoots, throw the leader into the mix and all the ingredients are there for a global battle unleashing who knows how many Hulks. Maestro could even be Banner's next evolution. Let's hope so. Yeah, Kevin Feige was like, what would you like to do? And he said, what would you do if you had a standalone Hulk movie? I said, well, I'd like to take him from this raging maniac to this, to kind of this integrated character. Mark Ruffalo said of his MCU role is, and he's like, okay, we'll do that over the course of 4 movies. Yeah, of course, Mark Ruffalo, you would want that because you're an actor and you're an actor's actor and you want to be able to play, a character with range, and you want to have the Hulk be no. The Hulk is a monster. Okay, Bruce Banner's the human. Hulk's the monster. Hulk doesn't do fucking yoga. Stop. We'll never give you a standalone Hulk. I don't mean to burst your bubble, but that's not going to happen. So we'll do it over 4 movies. How does that sound? As far as I know, when asked if it's still true that Marvel Studios doesn't want to do a Hulk movie, I can talk more about it, but I've been told not to. He said, alluding to complicated rights issues surrounding the Hulk franchise.
Yeah, Universal still has rights to the Hulk, and they made their rules clear. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that's what saved the Hulk from having a bad movie made like Fantastic Four or the X-Men, is the fact that they put their rules in there. I mean, it did save the Hulk. And
How?
the recent Marvel, because I mean, think about it. Like Rufio says, I want to play this Hulk that does all this.
No, but I mean, no. If they would have done a Hulk movie around the time of the pre-Endgame Marvel MCU, like during Iron Man and all that, and MCU did a Hulk movie, to sort of retcon or fix or continue from the first MCU movie, which was the Hulk movie with what's his name? What's the guy that played Hulk?
Mark Ruffalo and
No,
Eric Bana.
before him, after him,
Eric
after Eric
after
Bana,
Eric
before
Bana?
Mark Ruffalo.
It was Edward Norton.
Edward Norton. The Edward Norton movie. That was the first MCU Hulk movie, which was great. I thought it was
That was
fucking
good.
great. But they could have
was
done
good.
it again.
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. They could have done it again. I think it would have been fine. I mean, and now
Remember,
that's all that bullshit.
Universal has to approve it. Universal has to approve it, and they approve
Not
that movie.
anymore. Now they don't. Now Marvel has the Hulk back. That's the fucking crazy shit about why they haven't done the Hulk movie, or why they're not planning a Hulk movie, or maybe now they are planning a Hulk movie. I think that's the whole thing.
Or maybe they just trying to,
what's
or
happening.
maybe they trying to be careful because Hulk already had a bad movie, and maybe they just trying to be careful of what they do so that they don't. Because right now, after that last Hulk movie, Hulk is on it. Hulk has one up. So if you make another Hulk movie, it's riding off of the wave of that 2008 movie. That's
Yeah, but
that's the
they're
problem. So you got to come out.
yeah.
You got.
Well,
You got
I
to do
mean, they're
something
beyond
that
that.
good or better.
They've already given us the Hulk. They've got a new Hulk, a Mark Ruffalo Hulk, and so far I haven't never seen them go, oh, we might make a bad movie, let's not do that. And they've been making all the bad movies that they want to.
Nah, not no, not like that. I mean, like, look, you make a good movie, right? It's been
Oh no,
some
I get what
years.
you're saying. Like
perfect
right now,
example.
it's on a good
Like
note,
perfect
but that's
example.
20 years
Like
ago.
perfect example. When Arnold Schwarzenegger did Predator, they offered him $14 million to do Predator 2 before Predator 1 was even done being made. He said no because the timing wasn't right. They came out with Predator 2, and it didn't do as well as Predator 1. I mean, you had some star power in it, but it just didn't do
Well,
as
hell
well
no,
as
I
Predator
didn't,
1.
because
He
it
was
was
right.
fucking Danny Glover.
Now check it. He did Terminator, and how many years later did he do Terminator 2? And everybody loved it.
But bro,
Like you
that's not
said, the
because of the time. That's not because of the time distance. That's because Danny Glover did the movie. James Cameron did the movie. Terminator 2 was a special effects phenomenon.
It was.
Because of the all that shit. I mean, that was time in like if you're gonna do a big special effects movie like Terminator and you want to show futuristic shit and all that, waiting till the technology is there is a good idea.
But still
But
timed it. But they still timed it right when
it's the star power of Arnold. I don't care if you did Danny Glover. If Danny Glover did the movie T2, it would have still been trash. And if Arnold would have did Predator 2, it would have been good. It would have done great. So I don't think it was so much timing.
But he just thought that, right? But Arnold still thought that it was just too soon to do another Predator movie. Like he just,
and that's why he didn't do it. But that's not why he didn't do Predator 2. He didn't do Predator 2 because he was doing another movie. He had another movie.
No, I got the DVD. I got the Blu-ray. He said it.
I hear what you're saying.
Jesse Ventura said when he asked him, he said, "Look, they said Arnold, I would have did it for half that. You give me $7 million, I'll do it." And he said Arnold told him to his face. He said, "Listen, it's not time. Like
that's all he said. It's not time."
And then he said it's all about time. He said, so
that's
Jesse Ventura said it. So Jesse
but that's not saying that he wasn't doing another movie.
No, that's not saying that. But he said, I looked at Arnold's career and I looked at his movies and how they're spaced out. And he said he's right. They came out at the right time. Even when he did sequels, it was the timing, like he said. And it's true. Like you can't argue. Like Jesse was saying, you just can't argue the reason why he didn't do it. Like he said at the time I did, but then when I thought about it years later, he was right. We should have waited. They should have waited
in that pudding though, because I don't see the proof in the pudding there because Predator 2 wasn't bad because the timing was bad because it was Danny Glover and not Arnold. T2 wasn't great because it was really far spaced from T1. It was great because it was James Cameron, had great special effects and liquid metal and all that shit.
Predator 2. Predator 2 was not a bad movie. It just didn't do as well as Predator 1.
because it didn't have an action star that young 18 to 35-year-old white males who are the core, focus for box office sales or whatever the fuck. That's who they used to make movies for, kids. 18 to 35 white males. That's who all movies were made for. And all that shit is changing now and stuff. And now we're having more diversity in our filmmakers and also our demographic target audiences and all that stuff. But back then,
and we got a generation millennials.
Danny Glover had no shot. The only way Danny Glover had a shot was to be paired with Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. Sad but true. This is how Hollywood was.
Which he did, and look, and that blew all the way up.
Murtaugh was the shit.
And they talking about making a damn sequel to that now.
The sixth one
of 6-1. Yeah, they talking about making another one now. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how.
Is Danny Glover still alive?
Yeah, he was just in something. It was just in some movie I watched not too long ago. Yeah, he's still alive.
I don't know. When's the last time I seen Danny Glover?
I ain't seen him in a minute, but he's still alive. He's damn sure still alive. I don't know how he could. I don't know what. I don't know, man. I can't see another what's your name movie. I can't see another Lethal Weapon movie.
No, I didn't like the last couple. I ain't like the last couple of them. Like, I was hang on, let me holler at Cobra Cat Commander. He said, Gunn Superman is 10 times better than that Snyder Man of Steel. Snyder Bros really fearing its success. No. You misunderstand my thumbnail, sir. Gunn is done. It's just a provocative thumbnail to make you click. Basically, it means Gunn is done. He nailed it, bro. He nailed it and fucking put the period on it. He slam dunked it with this one. You're absolutely right. Superman, the DCU Superman is going to be phenomenal. One of the best. It's for a comic book fan, I think it's going to be the best Superman ever. For fans of Superman, I mean for fans that read comic books. I don't mean Superman fans. I mean for people that literally just read comic books, they're going to really love this movie just because of the fact that it's made by a comic nerd. It sort of caters to comic nerds, and it has everything that comics have in them versus the average Superman movie. But I did love Man of Steel too, by the way. I fucking love Man of Steel. Man of Steel it made me a Superman fan again. But well, not again, ever. I was never a fan of Superman. Man of Steel was phenomenal, but I still the only reason I loved Man of Steel is because it reminded me it was more of it was more like the comics. People can complain about that version of Superman all they want. That's how he is in the comics. That's how he is in a lot of comics. But the beauty of comics is that there are so many different writers and different versions and different iterations. If you don't like one Superman, you'll like another. You know what I mean? It's different writers make different versions of the character, and that's what I love about this movie is it's made by someone who understands that. It's made by a fan of comics. Stu Dog, peace out, man. Go be safe, man, and fight crime and go do your thing. In the meantime, man, that's yeah, I mean, that's the Hulk. That's let's see what else. All right, yeah, I think we nailed all the main points. We got all the main bullet points done. So that is our show, guys. We do this every Saturday and every Wednesday. We get together, we chop it up, we talk about the latest this or that, movies, comics, and things of that nature. A lot of collectibles, a lot of action figures and things like that. So we get into all that stuff. You love comics, you love toys, you love collecting, you love movies, you love hip hop. You will love The Sixth Element. We'll see you guys every Saturday, every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. We very much appreciate it. And we'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace.